This is an AZT label, as used by laboratory researchers. In America, this AZT label is used as anti-AZT propaganda. In South Africa, few people are even aware of the controversy surrounding this anti-AIDS drug.
Any doctor, any scientist, medical scientist, who has actually dispensed AZT to an AIDS patient or an HIV positive patient since the Concord trials has actually been a party to murder.
I don't buy that. I'll show them people that I haven't killed.
In hindsight, when I look back at the fact that I went off the drug, I suspect that it did actually save my life because everybody else who was on the drug has subsequently died.
Glaxo Wellcome manufactures the drug. Their stake in it is worth billions.
We find it unusual that these safety aspects or allegation of safety aspects on AZT have suddenly arisen in South Africa. They have not arisen in any other country around the world, in over 100 countries where the drug is registered. There is no other regulatory body which is on the same terms as the Medicines Control Council that is reviewing AZT because of safety problems.
If it is the first time, and somebody has to start.
The government has refused to supply the drug for free. This saves them billions.
What we are trying to do is to put on the table information so that the citizens of this country, if by any means, which are illegal means, if by any means they get hold of AZT, they do it knowingly so that tomorrow nobody should say we were not told.
HIV expert Ruben Scher believes AZT is a lifesaver if used correctly.
At certain doses the drug can kill you, and certain doses it can be beneficial.
Professor Mhlongo investigated AZT in London. He believes the drug can be a death sentence.
My opinion about AZT is that it is a drug which is highly, highly toxic. And in fact, if you were to take it for a longish period, 3 months or more, you may develop a syndrome much more serious than AIDS itself.
David Patient lectures on HIV and how to live with HIV. He was one of the first people to test the drug at maximum dosage.
In about 2 months of taking the drug, I noticed tremendous side effects. I developed pains, severe pains in my legs. I developed the night sweats, the diarrhea, the myositis, which is the wasting away of the legs and the inflammation of the tissue surrounding the muscles. Very uncomfortable experience. I noticed a lot of nausea, liver problems with a lot of people who were taking the medication. In that process, I noticed that the very things that the drug was supposed to be combating, it was actually creating. And I said, well, if I'm going to die, I don't want to feel like this. Next question.
David went off the drug. He's been HIV positive and healthy for 17 years.
If I look at my immune function now, I'm probably healthier than you.
Brett Anderson was recently diagnosed HIV positive. The AZT he uses is a quarter of David's dosage and is part of a cocktail.
Thinking about taking AZT, it wasn't even an option. For me, I just wanted, I heard great things. Only real side effect is diarrhea. I'd say maybe 4 days a week. Diarrhea is quite bad, quite dangerous. You can actually die.
I think drugs are one of the solutions we need to look at. I don't want to take hope away from people because sometimes that's all we've got left.
Hope is all there is because there's no proof, say Nobel Prize-winning scientists Walter Gilbert and Kerry Mullis. The only proof, says the dissidents, is that the drug destroys your immune system. It cannot heal it. Nose Week was the first South African publication to publish these devastating opposing views.
At first I thought, this is crazy, not worth spending any time on. But as I went further and further into what the dissidents were saying, I understood that their arguments were logical, methodical, thorough, that they were reasonable. They were reasonable people. They simply wanted a scientific debate on the issue.
Debating the issue with doctors proved to be difficult.
They told us they didn't want to discuss ludicrous nonsense. That was the standard dismissal.
Professor Mhlongo experienced similar reactions from his colleagues.
The AIDS industry does not allow dissent because you must swim with the tide, even if the tide is wrong.
A co-creator of AZT has been quoted as saying, the drug is too toxic even for short-term use.
You know, the word toxic, if you look it up in a dictionary, means poison. And to me, a poison is something that kills people.
Exactly, argues Duisberg. The drug is a form of chemotherapy. It is designed to kill body cells, not to heal them. The side effects of the drug include malignant tumors, anemia, dementia, and immune suppression. He calls AZT AIDS by prescription. Read the label, he urges.
I have never seen that label before.
Questions seem to bring more questions. We asked Glaxo Wellcome for proof. How many people have in fact benefited from the drug?
It's impossible for me to answer that question.
We asked whether there was any real proof that it can reduce HIV transmission in sexual contact.
Can't measure it. It's never been done. That sort of, I don't know.
How does Glaxo react to new research which claims the drug causes cancer, birth defects, and deaths?
I'm not aware of the data that you've just mentioned to me.
Glaxo was asked to comment on the finding that almost all long-term HIV survivors do not take any anti-AIDS drugs.
Yeah, I haven't seen those statistics, so I'm not able to comment on them.
I don't know what literature they read.
They simply have not been reading the latest medical journals, which we have as journalists have been reading. We're not paid to do it. They get the big salaries to do it, and they're not doing it.
Look, Glasgow Wellcome knows exactly, and each and every one of us, if we want to find that information, it's easily available.
It's difficult to find clarity amongst all the confusion and contradiction. Glaxo Wellcome has not registered the drug, nor do they recommend it in cases of rape. Yet out of desperation, many continue to demand the drug. Few understand how it works.
AZT doesn't differentiate between good cell, bad cell, infected cell, uninfected cell. What it does do is it in essence destroys most of the immune system, specifically the CD4 and its ability to fight.
The scientific debate is whether AZT kills the cells or not.
No, you're not killing off the cell. What you're doing is you're preventing the virus from replicating. So the virus is in the cell, it cannot replicate, and it gets digested by the organelles within the host cell.
Others disagree, adding that the drug cannot target specific enzymes.
Now, reverse transcriptase is also present in many other functions in the body. So although we were assured initially that it would only act because it was specific for the HIV reverse transcriptase, it would seem that that's not quite the truth.
Only 1 out of a few hundred cells are infected with HIV. If AZT has to kill off hundreds of healthy cells to get at the one infected cell, the destruction is enormous.
People don't think that the FDA could possibly make such a mistake in approving a drug like AZT. But in fact, if you look at the approval process, there are very many obvious flaws.
Well, I disagree with you that those trials were not correctly conducted, because they were done according to good clinical practice guidelines. They were accepted by health authorities like the Food and Drug Administration. But I think what we have to do is we have to move away from the original monotherapy studies.
We can't move away, argues science writer John Lauritsen. The original tests were sloppy and fraudulent. In 1993, the biggest independent study to date on AZT, the Concord trial, released their damning results. AZT cannot prolong life. AZT cannot stave off AIDS. Moreover, the side effects of the drug can harm or kill.
Glaxo Wellcome have to be devious to take the position they do now on promoting their product, simply because of the weight of evidence against the use of their product.
Now pregnant women have access to the drug.
To the HIV-positive mothers, again, is that we will treat the opportunistic infections and to reassure them that 75% born of mothers who are HIV-positive will be born HIV-negative.
AZT has reportedly reduced this percentage by half. Other studies claim the same results by giving the mothers vitamins. Here's a mother who took AZT. Within a week of taking the drug, she went into premature labor 2 months early.
I don't know what to do. I cried a lot. Why me? Shouting, why me? Why me? Why me? And I couldn't believe it. I went to labor early, so I only took 2. One, it was 9 o'clock, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, and then I went for the Caesar the following day.
It would be irresponsible to say the AZT caused this. Yet in 1994, the Journal of AIDS reported similar problems, including birth defects. It has been said that the women in these hospitals are guinea pigs, not patients.
It is sexist, it is racist, it is capitalist.
Legal action is looming. The International Coalition for Medical Justice is pursuing various cases against the drug.
There have been some cases, but the claimants have withdrawn the legal complaints prior to it going to court.
Desperate and dying people are being exploited. Their fear, their anxiety is being exploited for cash.
A lot of money is involved.
AIDS is a huge multi-billion-dollar industry worldwide. It is big bucks. And I was always hoping and praying that there'd be a day we'd see AIDS go. Now it actually doesn't make any sense to find a cure because too many businesses will go under as a result of it.
You see, this is the problem. Everybody is just zeroed on AZT, as if there's nothing else that people can do.
Personally, I don't think it's necessary for people to die from HIV/AIDS. I think a lot of it is to do with mindset. I think a lot of it is to do with the victim consciousness that so many people have.
I can't argue with that. And I think that's why we have certain guidelines. When do we administer antiretroviral drugs? Because what are we doing? What we're doing with some of these drugs, we're taking people who are well out of the wellness category and we're putting them into the sickness category. That's why we've got to be very careful. Because the minute the person is taking tablets, he says to himself, something's wrong with me. I'm deteriorating. That's why the doctor's putting me onto treatment.
You've got it. It's a simple recipe. What you put into your body is what your body's going to respond to. You're putting crap into your body, you're going to get crap results. Try and be as healthy as you possibly can. Most people know what a healthy diet looks like. And for the woman who's in Soweto, she can buy the seeds, she can grow the pumpkin that's going to give her certain things. She can grow the morojo, she can grow the ndumbi, she can eat the spinach. She can do all of this in a garden the size of a doll.
I think the best tablet's the gymnasium. I really do.
So, to take or not to take the drug?
If I was HIV positive, I wouldn't take AZT at gunpoint.
Professor Mhlongo asked his colleagues whether they would take the drug.
Most of them, about 70%, said they will not take the drug.
I would not. I wouldn't.
I would not take AZT.
Dr. Michael Mole came into contact with HIV-infected blood from a patient earlier this year. He too chose not to take the drug due to its side effects.
What it does, it suppresses the immune system, the very immune system that we want to boost.
The average person might ask, if my doctor won't take the drug, why should I? What does one make of this controversy?
HIV and AZT, is it a hoax? Is it a scam? Is it just a terrible mess? A mistake? Well, it's probably a little bit of all three. Everybody can make a mistake. A hoax or a scam, that's unforgivable.
Glaxo Wellcome is not killing people with its antiretroviral medicines. Glaxo Wellcome is not exploiting any individuals for commercial benefit. And your third allegation was that Glaxo Wellcome is lying. Glaxo Wellcome is a reputable scientific company, and we do not lie to people. We do not lie to researchers, we do not lie to scientists, we do not lie to physicians, and we do not lie to patients.